oh, it's the black man's fault that he's in the position. Well, what about black on black crime? I mean, it goes on and on and on. You know, I mean, I could sit here all day and give you examples. All lives matter. I mean, it just goes on all day. Black people ask for justice. White people find a way to try to obscure it, to try to take away from it, to try to demean it. We are colonizers. And I say that based on our behavior, collectively as white people. And until we stop being gaslighters and colonizers, white people are on a path of self-destruction. White supremacy, the lies of white supremacy, the colonizing mentality has never brought the white man happiness, and it never will. It's toxic, dysfunctional, and self-defeating. And it's not helping us. And now there's all this white rage because when the abuser loses control, he gets angry. And then Trump was born because we had a black president. And he was perfect because he was racist. And that's what white America wanted, because they're angry, because they felt like they were losing control. Because colonizers have to have control. And we had a black president. And everybody just shit all over themselves. White people just freak the fuck out. Oh my God, we're losing control. We have a black president. He's going to oppress us and enslave us. God knows we're going to be whipped and lynched. This is literally, I think, some of the thoughts, the subconscious. I'm exaggerating, but in a way it's true. The greatest fear of the colonizer is all that evil, vile shit that we did will be done up unto them, us. That's why there's so much white rage. The numbers are changing. Pretty soon, white people will not be the majority. The abuser loses control. So what do? We continue gaslighting. We continue with white rage. White domestic terrorism on the rise. The greatest threat in America. White people are enraged because they can no longer control their victims, black and brown people, the way that they want to. They're losing some of their power, some of their positions, some of their privilege. They feel threatened. So here we are, in a state of crazy, utter chaos. That's why I say the lies of white supremacy is our destruction.
We don't owe you our emotional reaction. For so long, the black community have been forced to comply or cry out loud. But this time, black folks have chosen a new path. The path of silence. The path of responding. The path that is not predictable. I've compiled you videos of white palm people actually confused about the black silence. So let's watch the videos, then I'll come back with my commentary. If you are watching us for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe. We will really appreciate. Let's dive in.
Watch this video, and I'll be right back.
Today, it's been on my mind is the amount of trauma that our culture creates and recreates and recreates and recreates. And I just think about it, right? In order for us to be in this state where we're always in competition, stemming from this Greco-Roman European mind struct that there's not enough resources on the planet, so we're always in competition. And in order to be in competition, I need to create an enemy, even when there is none. So black folks have always been our enemy because they are the ones that understand the abundance of life. They live a village to raise a child. That is a sharing community full of love and enjoyment, and we didn't have that. We don't have that connection coming from where we come from. That's sad, but because of it, we feel traumatized. We're weaponized in our trauma to hate somebody, to see somebody else's success as an enemy to us, to see someone else living in a land that has resources that we seek as an enemy to us. We create that enemy. We don't have to be enemies with black folks. They have shown us love and are waiting to show us more love when we finally stop this mental trauma game of thinking we're in competition and they are our enemy. And we do it with brown folks, right? We do it with indigenous cultures and aboriginal cultures all over the planet. Wherever we have gone, we have caused harm instead of appreciated the love that we were shown. And that's a trauma brain response. So when I speak about the need for repairing the harm that we have caused others, it is also so that we can learn our own humanity and break down and tear down these walls of our own trauma-brained response as white folks. And no, I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for us.
Like I've been saying on my page for the last 5 years, when you dehumanize someone, you lose your humanity. And that's what happened to the white community. They are so used to dehumanizing people. They were taught to dehumanize people by their elders and ancestors that they have lost their humanity. And for you to gain your humanity back, you're going to have to deconstruct the indoctrination that was given to you by the rich white folks, the oligarchs, the billionaire class, whatever the fuck you want to call them. You got to deconstruct that, and you have to repair the harm that your community has done to the entire world's population. The problems that we have in the world do not come from black people or people of color or indigenous people. It comes from y'all community. 7 to 10% of the world population is white, yet you guys cause 98% of the harm that is going on in the world. When you dehumanize people, you yourself lose your humanity. And that is just a fact. Remember, diversity, equal power. We can change the world when we work together and protect black women. Until next time, sometimes you got to hear it from someone that looks like you.
I'm going to step on a bunch of people's feet when I say this. You are not being discriminated against just because you are not centered in the story. I need people to marinate in that, sit with that. You are not being oppressed by other people talking about various histories or focusing on various literature. None of those things are directly harmful to you. The way some folks will literally try to spin it as if talking about, let's take an example, if talking about black history is harmful to them somehow. They never prove it. They never have any tangible examples of the actual harm of discussing black history. It's all based upon people's feelings, which if we're basing things upon people's feelings, there's a whole group of black people who would love to talk about our feelings about things. Our feelings are never considered in these conversations, but the idea that it is oppressive to certain groups of folks to learn black history is wild. That is somehow harmful and detrimental to these folks to learn actual history, things that have actually happened, as opposed to those things that actually happened, is wild. It shows me that y'all have never truly been oppressed because of your color of your skin. Like, y'all have never experienced that. When I'm having these discussions here on this forum and folks come on and they leave their comments, when I ask them for examples of how this is oppressive to them, you know what some of those comments are? Black history section at the bookstore. Netflix having a whole black section. The black hair care aisle. Do y'all see how that's like wild? That other people simply existing, simply talking about existing, or in the case of the hair care aisle, simply caring for our bodies is somehow oppressive to folks who are so used to being centered that they lose their marbles when they hear or learn or are confronted with the idea that other people exist in this world and may want a little scalp moisturizer or may want to read a book that talks about our experiences, or may want to watch a love story that features black love. That's the worst you gotta deal with? The idea that other people simply exist? That's the worst you have to deal with? Also, let me say this, because y'all think that everything black people do is cool without giving black people credit for it. Oppression is not fun. Being oppressed is not cute. Being harmed in so many different ways just because of the people that you come from is literally not fun. And I don't know why so many people want to be oppressed. I mean, outside of the fact that y'all think that everything black people do is cool. I mean, a bunch of y'all walk around with do-rags right now trying to get waves, and I'm like, baby, you enjoy those cornfield looking locks. Like, that's fine. Baby, y'all don't even know what this stuff is for. A bunch of y'all were throwing oil in your hair and like y'all didn't know what that stuff was for. Like, it's weird, it's strange, it's odd, it's getting strange. It's okay if you're not centered in the story. It's okay. Other people exist. Other people could tell their perspectives. Other people matter too. Like, wasn't that y'all big thing that all lives matter? Isn't this a prime example of that? Breathe. It's okay. Other people exist. You'll be fine. You'll survive.
It's obvious that many of you do not understand what restorative justice is. Restorative justice is compassion. Restorative justice is compassion for the victim first, for community, and it is also compassion for the offender. Restorative justice gives the victims an opportunity to be heard by community, by the offender. It gives victims the opportunity to say, this is what happened to me, this is what you did to me, and this is how it affected my life. Restorative justice gives victims a feeling of safety amongst the masses. It lets them know they are not alone. It validates the harm that has been caused to the victims and reminds victims that they have an entire community that loves and cares for them. Restorative justice is compassion for community because it brings community in to be witnesses, not mediators, but witnesses to a process in which our community restores order and brings the fold back together. Restorative justice is compassion for the community because it shows community that there is accountability here for each and every one of us, whichever side of accountability we stand on, whether we are being held accountable or the offender is being held accountable for the crimes they have committed against us. Restorative justice is compassion for the offender because what is the alternative? Lock them up and throw away the fucking key? Just discard them like they're trash? No. Restorative justice gives Shaheem the opportunity to hear what they've done wrong and come up with a plan with community to not reoffend anyone in community. Restorative justice gives Shaheem the opportunity to right their wrongs and come back home, to not be ostracized, to not be left without a people. And unfortunately, we don't practice restorative justice in our community. We fall back on the white man's idea of justice for Black lives, and that is just fucking punitive. In order for restorative justice to happen, Shaheem has got to be willing to come to the table. And these victims of Shaheem's have tried many times to communicate with Shaheem, but Shaheem does not value the lives of their victims. What Shaheem does is offends and then blocks, like the victims never even existed and certainly do not matter. And after Shaheem blocks their victims, then his flying fucking monkeys swarm their victims and makes the situation that much worse. Our community deserves better than that. And none of us are above accountability. I'm not trying to throw Shaheem away, but Shaheem has resisted the call-in one after another, and this has gotten bigger and bigger because the body count of victims continues to grow. And this community has to put a stop to it because Shaheem has a type. And I happen to be Shaheem's type of victim. And if I don't stop it from happening to someone else, I could be next. You could be next. And that fear right there is what destabilizes and disconnects our community. Restorative justice is in order, so we can protect, care for, and clean our own communities without outside interference. And if you have a problem with people being doxxed, so do I. That's one of the things that we need to be talking to Shaheem about. If you have a problem with people calling Shaheem's job, Shaheem is a fucking therapist. And there is a level of accountability in that profession to do no harm. And you should also consider if Shaheem had respected their victims enough to actually sit down at the table and discuss the harm that they have caused in community, those victims would not now be seeking other alternatives for justice. Restorative justice is in order, and you've not seen it practiced very often, but that doesn't mean that this isn't it. That doesn't mean that this isn't it. You just don't like it because Shaheem is your problematic fucking face.
As it is evidence in the videos, the black people have been triggered to react. And when they react, they are called aggressive. But it's nice to see that the black communities have now taken a new path. I remember they tried to gaslight the black folks to attend the protests, but the black folks actually decampaigned. And actually this silence is making them uncomfortable. It's making them uncomfortable because they don't know what to do. Because silence was not part of the game. They wanted to trigger the black folks, then they react. They say they are aggressive. When they cry, they say that they are playing victims. And when they keep quiet, they say that the black folks are cold. But this time round, the black community is responding differently. The black community is no more reacting. It is responding by thinking fast, by taking cautious steps. And I feel that this is actually a win for the black folks because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to gaslight the black folks anymore. And this was not the part of the game. The part of the game was to provoke the black community. But it's nice to see the black community is actually taking the route of responding with silence. And it's making them crazy. Because of this silence, now the white community is coming out to cry loud for the policies that are made by the regime that they voted. And I remember that they used to mess up with voting, and then they gaslight the black community to come and fight, to come and correct things. But right now, we are not correcting anything. Let them clear their mess. We are just watching. Because when we protest, they say that we are chaotic. They say that we are aggressive. They say that we are violent. Let me know what you think, guys, about the whole thing of black silence. And of course, if you are watching us for the first time, please don't forget to hit that subscription button. We will really appreciate. Until we meet again, salute.